You ready?
Ready, sir.
All right.
Where should she start?
Okay, it's 10 o'clock. We'll call this meeting to order. I do certify that we have a quorum. Opening prayer this morning will be by Pastor James Reed of Mountain Springs Bible Church, and that will be followed by our pledges led by Commissioner Leon Clement. Would everyone rise, please?
And let's pray. Father God, we thank you so much for the blessings that you've given us, the blessings of wisdom, the blessings of courage and honor, Father, the blessings of your Son, Jesus. Father, we thank you that we can come before you as a body and worship and honor you in all that we do. So, Father, I ask that we continue to look to your wisdom and your ways as we conduct the business. You established government for us to rule the people through that. And so, Father, let it be the people that we're thinking of, let it be the people that we're doing this for, Father. You put 5 great people in this place to give them the honor and the privilege to serve you in that manner. So, Father, we ask that this county, this area, this state be a blessing to your name and glorifying voice to you, Father. We just thank you and we pray all this in Jesus' holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Item number 6 on the agenda, the consent agenda. Does anyone have any questions or concerns about anything on the consent?
The mic isn't on.
Uh-oh. I guess my voice carries so well that most people didn't notice. We're working now?
It's recording, and this is on this one.
Working the full started for?
Test. You picking up anything? Testing? Okay. Back to item number 6, consent agenda. Any questions or concerns?
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Have a motion to accept the consent agenda by Commissioner Clement, seconded by Commissioner Snuggs. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, 5-0. Item number 7, deliberate and consider possible actions regarding Matthew Spaeth, request to volunteer for the Potter Cemetery activities. Matthew, would you like to kind of give us an overview of what you have in mind?
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners.
Good morning.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you all today. My name is Matthew Spade. My parents are from Georgia and Bernice Spade. I have an older sister, Jordan. We live along South I-35 at Spring Creek Road on property that's been in my family since 1949. I'm 15 years old. I'm completing my freshman year at Sacred Heart Catholic School in Munster. I'm a member of Boy Scouts of America, Troop 668, the Lindsay 4-H Club, the Cooke County Antique Tractor Club, and I volunteer at Alpha, St. Mary's, and Sacred Heart Catholic churches. I enjoy farming and ranching with my parents and grandparents. I like cutting and baling hay, maintaining equipment, antique tractors, caring for livestock, and riding my horse sports. I've come to you today to address the need of the restoration of what is known as the County Potter Cemetery, located on West Highway 82. I first became aware of the cemetery about a year or so ago. One day on the way home from school, my mom pointed out and asked me if I knew that it was a cemetery. After learning this, I began thinking about those who were buried there, how many graves were there, how old was it, and why there were no markers or no fence. As I went on, the thoughts about the cemetery came going out of my mind. Being a scout, the time came for me to begin thinking about my Eagle Scout project. Obtaining the Eagle Scout is the highest achievement or rank attainable in the Boy Scouts of America. Throughout the Eagle Scout project, dedication, workload, and many different skills will be learned, but most importantly, leadership. I feel that dedicating myself to not only restoring the cemetery, but bringing respect and dignity to those buried there is more than worthy of my Eagle Scout project. I feel confident in my abilities to help and assist the county in bringing recognition to the cemetery. I would like to help coordinate any and all efforts, such as, but not limited to, historical research of individuals buried there, applying to the county, state testing as a historical marker, as I learned it dates back to the 1800s. Erecting an entry gate and fence, marking the graves in a respectable way, placement of historical information, signage, construction of a safe and easy access entry way, maintaining the cemetery, as well as coordinating and managing the volunteer group. The completion of this project will not only bring recognition to those buried there, but the dignity and respect they deserve. In addition to educating not only those in our community, but all travelers about the history and about the history of the county.
Thank you. I'd like to make a copy of that and add it to the meeting minutes if we could. That was very good. Any questions of us? Guys, y'all have questions?
When do you think you'd start on it?
I'd like to start.
Just curious.
I'd like to start sometime in the summer.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds good.
That sound good. Very well presented. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to me.
I make the motion, we accept his volunteer and give him the opportunity to organize the activities that he described in his letter.
A second.
Have a second by Commissioner Leon Clement. All in favor, please signify. Any further discussion? I'm sorry.
Any chance we'd want to make a wooden sign or something of that nature to mark that? Or you're going to take care of that? Okay, okay, I'm sorry. I just,
Yeah, he was.
Now, are you intending, I've got an individual that offered to build the fence or help build the fence. Not that I'm trying to steal your thunder at all, but there's an individual over at Munster's that volunteered that if somebody needs help putting a fence up, he would be glad to do it. So that's why I asked you, when do you think you might start? It's your project, you're in charge of it. I just wanted you to know there's somebody out there that would like to help.
Yeah, we'll put you in contact with him, and certainly you can coordinate with whoever is willing to volunteer and volunteer materials or whatever. I think Adam may have some materials that are applicable as well. I think that we can put together a list of people you can contact and see if you can get additional volunteers. Just keep in mind that anyone that volunteers will need to go through the volunteer waiver process through our county attorney, which is KO today. But we'll make sure we coordinate that. Just be sure that anything going on or anybody wants to volunteer, that you bring it through the court and let us get the proper waivers. Okay? Any other discussion?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very well stated. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Thank you, Matthew. Item number 8. Deliberate and consider possible actions on public health emergency declaration for COVID-19. The only reason I want to keep this on the agenda is there any reason to keep the county under an emergency declaration? I think the only thing that it does is it gives me the authority to take action should there be an emergency of some kind. I don't know that we necessarily need to continue it. Ray, do you have any added thoughts on that subject?
No, sir, I think right now it doesn't give us or take away anything we're doing. Really, it gives us, provides the opportunity to make decisions in a much more timely manner if that were required. I don't see that necessity right now, and we can always put it back on if we have to.
But we can certainly leave it in effect, too. My personal opinion is we should probably rescind it.
Well, then rescind it.
Okay?
Sounds good to me.
I make the motion that we rescind the declaration of emergency for COVID-19.
Second.
Have a second from Commissioner Clement. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it, 5-0. Item number 9, deliberate and consider possible approval of amendment to the North Central Texas Trauma Regional Advisory Council Regional Program Participation Agreement. I believe that's in your packet.
Yeah, this is just strictly updating the Tcog and PHI information. We exchange information with them. They get our patient information, and we have an agreement with them that we do every year. We fall under the trauma region. We have to use their trauma protocols and some other things. We get passing dollars through them on the incentive agenda. We got $24,000 this year versus the typical $8,000 to $9,000. So all this is literally updating the PHI agreement and the HIP agreement. So that's patient healthcare information, protected healthcare information.
I make the motion, we do it.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Art to accept the PHI agreement.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hollowell.
So one question.
Sure.
All they're doing in here is they're changing what they call all this information. Instead of the personal identifying information, they're now going to call it the safeguarded information. That's pretty much.
That's pretty much
That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And it's just updating it. It's different terminology, but again, it's updating the PHI and the HIP
That's.
agreement.
I read through the whole thing, and that's the only thing I could find.
Yep.
Okay.
I believe that is correct. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Item number 10, deliberate and consider possible approval of naming members to the Tcog Governing Board for Cooke County. Those current members are Commissioner Snuggs and Mayor New from Lindsay. We can either extend their terms or we can nominate new. I did call Tcog and talk to them. They are very pleased with Commissioner Snuggs and Mayor New. They're familiar with the process. Does anyone know of anyone that might be interested in that position?
I'm good with Mr. New or Mayor New continuing, but I would like to allow Commissioner Hart to serve if he would like to. Those meetings happen on Thursday evenings, and those are the evenings when I have my daughter, so it's pretty tough for me to make those meetings. It was real nice we Zoomed them during COVID, but now it's back to face-to-face meetings, so.
Commissioner Arndt, would you be interested in taking that position?
I would.
Is there a time limit on these things? At one time, I know they said the community-wide ones could only serve a certain number of years. Was it 6 years or something, and then they had to pass on to somebody else?
Don't we rotate the city?
You rotate something,
Yeah, I think we rotate the cities, each city,
but I don't know how many years it is you rotate them.
but I don't think it's that long, is it?
I don't know. I just remember, someone from the city of Munster was the one before New, and they had to change. Because I remember Judge Brinkley said there was a certain time period for those.
Of course, Tcog is telling us in their letter that there's no requirements at this time, so I don't.
No, that's fine. I just want to know what the time period is. I guess when we get to that, they'll let us know.
I mean, I'm sorry, go
No, I
ahead.
was going to say, have either one of y'all served on it?
I've served on tabs, Leon, I know served on tabs, I don't.
I figured y'all had been on Tcog earlier.
I've never been on Tcog.
That's why I reached out to Adam.
We've been on sub-boards to Tcog.
I've been doing taps and Meals on Wheels.
That's why I reached to Adam to see if he'd be willing to serve, because it was good for me to understand how Tcog works, but now with the time constraint, it's just I'd rather turn it over to somebody else. That's why I reached out to him, thinking y'all might have already served. I should have asked everybody, but.
Is that a motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint Commissioner Arndt and to leave Mayor New for the time being.
Second.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry. And I have a second from Commissioner Hollowell. Any further discussion? All in favor of appointing Commissioner New and leaving Mayor New and adding Commissioner Arndt, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
You're going to abstain, I think.
Okay, we'll let you abstain. We have 4, 1 abstained. Item number 11, Arndt. Deliberate and consider possible actions on requests for Belltown's Power Texas regarding battery storage project. If you'll look at your packet, they sent in almost verbatim the letter that Jason Brinkley had signed for them that was applicable for the solar panels themselves. I'm reluctant to send anything to them at this point, not knowing what the reclamation would be for the batteries. I've reached out to TCEQ and asked them for guidance as to is there any state requirement, but I have not received anything back yet. Any thoughts on this, guys? Have we had any dealings with batteries before?
No. Where's this located exactly?
I don't have the exact location.
I'm not sure why Jason ever wrote such a broad letter anyway. I mean, I don't have any problem with telling them, hey, this is what we regulate. Basically, that's subdivisions and septics. What else, guys? I mean, outside the Ray Roberts planning and zoning, the only thing that we actually have any authority to deal with is septic subdivisions and culverts. And, so hey.
The only thing that would concern me is, KO, you may want to jump in on this, is that if in fact the time comes, I think that they have to have a reclamation bond to dispose of those batteries in the future, or I'm not too sure that we don't want to create something.
We may need to do that,
Yeah.
but my concern was we try to list all those entities that we would miss one, and at some point in time, they'd come and wave their flag and said, but the county says it's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be my concern.
Here's my concern is, and I agree with Gary, but the foremost concern is if we give them this letter, they're going to go out and recruit investors based on us saying that there's no limitations for battery installation. Well, my gut feeling tells me that when the time comes, there will be regulations that we'll create, one of them being definitely a reclamation bond to take those out someday in the future. But I need to better understand exactly what the fire control process is too. And like I said, I reached out to TCEQ and I haven't gotten a response from them yet. I'm sure they're running it through their attorneys and whatnot. But I may be just erring on the cautious side here. I was also going to try to find a couple other counties that have batteries and see if they have some kind of regulations as it applies to batteries. Anybody else have any thoughts? My way of thinking is we wait and put this on the next agenda so we can have a little bit more information by then. I apologize, but didn't have a chance to do very thorough research on this one.
I'd like to know exactly where it's going to be sitting, for one thing.
It's going to be at an existing solar panel
That'd have to be the
farm.
one down there or the one north.
Is that going to be on Adams
Well, there's
precinct?
There's
Precinct 2.
Oh, okay.
And then the only other one I know about is in the city limits up here.
Yeah.
Isn't that in the city limits?
Yeah. Maybe.
North on 35? Those are the only two solar farms I know about.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, guys, but I'll get that clarification. I recommend we take no action on this one, leave it on the agenda for next time.
Works for me.
Okay. Agenda item 12, deliberate and consider possible approval of funds transferred for EMS part-time payroll. Kevin, can you give us some insight?
I can. From October to December, we had 14 employees out with COVID or quarantined with COVID. So backfilling pretty much to shoot away our part-time budget. We're running right now, we're only halfway through the year, we're running $4,500 over budget on part-time. We're running about $21,000 under budget on the full-time. So at this point, I'd like to transfer $20,000 from full-time to part-time. We're trying to maintain that. I've had 4 employees out on FMLA. And so we're trying to maintain a balance. And at this point, I'm not sure. I did speak to Shelley about COVID dollars to cover that. She said there were no COVID dollars. They don't let it in December. So obviously, you have to continue to use part-timers to try to backfill these FMLA spots.
So do you have the money to do that from your full-time budget? So at the end of the year, are you going to go over budget?
I don't know. At this point, I'm hoping to be even, but, we should have 14 employees out again between now and the end of the fiscal year. But I don't have that answer for you, Judge.
Shelley, with all the new revisions and grants and stuff, nothing covering EMS and emergency services that you can find?
With the American Rescue Plan, I don't know what the guidelines are going to be when that money comes out. That might be something.
I'd heard just rumor that there was going to be some money out there for emergency services, maybe EMS and maybe even volunteer fire for,
But the guidelines haven't come out yet.
Yeah, at this point, though, I'm over budget, so we have to transfer dollars to cover that until we figure out what's going on with that, because we're running out of negative, which we can't do, so.
Move to approve.
Have a motion to approve by Commissioner Hollowell.
I'll second.
I have a second by Commissioner Arndt. Any further discussion? All in favor of moving money from his full-time to his part-time in order to pay the 14 that were out, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Kevin.
And we have done this in the past.
Yes, we have. Thank you.
Item number 13, deliberate and consider possible actions on request to Texas Historical Commission for approval of moving commissioners' offices out of the courthouse. There is a draft in your packet. Hope everyone's had an opportunity to take a look at that. Do we want to amend that or send it as it is?
You've already signed it,
Yes, sir, I have. So,
you and Commissioner Hollowell. I'd like to amend it, but it's not going to matter. I won't ever sign it. I might send my own. I still think it's a mistake. I know we're rehashing old territory, but we're not building a new office for the future. We're building what some people want today. We're going to have to figure out how to make that work because there's not even a place to put file cabinets in this new thing that we're proposing. And we're actually building ourselves a smaller office. You think you're going to get a new boardroom, but that's actually a jury room. And I still say it's a waste of taxpayers' money. We shouldn't be building things for ourselves. We should be building things for the future, and this is definitely not for the future. And there was a comment made that 6 years ago or so, Gary, y'all were going to build this, and somebody stood in the way. When y'all proposed this a couple of years ago, it was thrown aside. No one stood in the way. The Commissioners Court threw aside. I talked to the architect and said, where are we going to put file cabinets? And he said, there's really not a place to put any. And I said, well, have you talked to any of us being the commissioners, what we need? And he said, no, I was asked to put an office inside that space. And he said, I don't know where you'll put file cabinet storage. There's a small storage closet, but that's it. And if you really want a new office that bad, We've got roughly 18,000 square feet of new office space across the street that has a huge boardroom existing that would be yours or ours, with offices. I know I've been told that the JP won't use that space that much because he doesn't have that many trials, but that's this JP. Y'all got to think about what's going to happen 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Jody uses his quite all the time. This won't be your boardroom. This will be a jury room that you're going to get permission to use. Anyway, now I looked this all over. I thought I'd try to add something to it. I wish it would reflect the fact that it was not a unanimous vote, but I imagine they'll get that if I don't sign it, because it's not unanimous. And as far as the historically accurate office, you still have a problem with that restroom down there, I see, because you made sure you knew that the restroom was the only thing historical. When they talk about historical offices, they're not talking about buildings. They're talking about the offices that have been historic and do the main work of the county as far as rulemaking and the decisions. Anybody want to reconsider? I didn't think so.
Anyone else have any input?
Looked like there's was some revisions made to the original draft, which I'm okay with. And regardless of whether we move here or to the Crest Building or wherever we move, you're still going to have to do the same letter. So I'd make the motion we approve this letter and at least get that sent to THC.
Have a motion to approve the letter and get it sent to the Texas Historical Commission.
Second.
Have a second by Commissioner Snuggs. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
We have 4 and 1. Item number 14, deliberate and consider possible approval of troubleshooting agreement for elevator at Crest Building and budget amendment for same. Is Rick here? Were you able to determine whether that thing could be ADA approved or not?
Not yet, but I have contact with OSL talk with him about getting an assessment to see if it is a right now or could be made that way.
So when do you expect to have that?
He said to do that and not charge us for that.
Okay.
They're scheduled to come here this Thursday. He and one of his technicians or something, they will look at it at that time and they will give us a recommendation of what we need to do to it to make it ADA compliant, and then a cost estimate.
Okay, that sounds good. I agree with Commissioner Clement that we shouldn't take any action until we know whether it can ever be ADA approved. All right.
Because they won't try to fix it or anything, they're just going to come and look at it and tell us what needs to be done to install it.
That's perfect. I recommend we take no action on this and let it come up at the next court. Everybody okay with that? By then we'll know whether it is or could ever be ADA approved. Thanks, Rick. Item number 15,
That's what the...
deliberate and consider possible actions regarding the Crest Building. Glad you didn't go far, Rick.
So, Golden Triangle came this past week, and they went in under the building and removed all the little pipe that's going to be replaced, and replaced the pipe that's under the building up to this south wall. In the meantime, I've been waiting on the plan from the contractor. Golden Triangle is the contractor. It's going to do all the underground work. He has to provide specifications of what he's going to do, what kind of pipe, what kind of material, process under the ground. We have to submit the test line and a traffic plan that will be submitted. I have not got that yet. that into the application and send that on to TxDOT. And they told us the day we had the meeting that once they got that information, that the permit would be issued within an hour.
Okay.
That's what we're voting for. So then at that point, all the scheduling, we have to put up signs for like 14 days prior to the work being done, notifying people that the road will be shut down from this day to this day.
Mhm.
We have to go through the protocol. But we can't do anything until I get that plan and get sent to them. Supposedly, I want to get it today.
Okay, is there anything any of us can do to help you or to expedite the process?
I don't get it today. Call the county judge.
Okay, just let me know if I can do anything.
So what's going to be the fix to be able to turn the water off so we don't have to go through all this closing the road down
They're going to put a valve in the sidewalk.
in the building, in the sidewall of the building?
The sidewalk to the building.
In the sidewalk, okay.
So there'll be the cutoff still on the street, which belongs to the city. There'll be a cutoff in the sidewalk that belongs to us. So that if there's a problem, we can cut it off without having to contact the city or anyone.
Is the pipe bad all the way to the valve under the street?
They're assuming that it is.
So they're going to take it all the way out at the,
They're taking it all the way to the city's valve. That's why we have to have a whole traffic plan and all that.
Yeah.
Why TxDOT's involved. Those
yeah.
are protocol.
That pipe under the road's probably 100 years old, so probably good to
I'd
fix
say
it
so.
while we're at it.
Do it while we're doing it.
Yeah.
And the price that we were given from Golden Triangle includes that all the way to that value. We wanted to get the work done in the building so he was know for sure what he's dealing with, make sure he has all the parts and everything he needs before we start digging. Because you can't just run out and grab a 6-inch fitting somewhere locally.
Okay, any other questions? Any concerns, anything we can do to help you?
Everything's just step 1, step 2, step 3.
Okay,
The Crest building. So what became of the roof inspection?
We're waiting on, that's another thing that's not on the agenda, but I'll tell you all that. We finally got from Mr. Franklin the specifications and scope of work that come to do this building. He wants us to look it over and approve it. And at that point, we will send it on to THC for their approval. And once that all gets approved, then he can move forward with the project.
but to answer Commissioner Clement's question on the Crest building, he's going to x-ray it or?
When he comes here for the construction meeting for this building, he's going to inspect it.
Yeah,
If we will wait till that time, he will charge us.
it'll be free that way.
If we want to do it ahead of time, it's $2,000.
No, I've heard this story before. I'm just asking to see when it's going to happen because,
That's the whole thing, bantering back and forth, THC and him wanting to do it a certain way, and THC saying, no, I'm going to do it that way. So this plan, I haven't had a chance to look at it, it was in my email this morning.
Now, I'm assuming this is the plan that the court approved a couple of courts ago to use the same ceiling materials that are currently on this building.
yeah.
Okay, so do we
Well, it's
need,
supposed to be, I haven't seen it.
okay, take a look at it, and if it's not that verbatim, then we'll need to come back through the court with it, okay?
That answers the question about that. We're still going to do that, we're going to do this.
Well, that's the reason for bringing it all up because we talked about this, how many months ago? And then every meeting, it keeps getting pushed back. I'm not complaining to you, it's just the nature of the beast, and then all of a sudden it's done, and they completed their job, and then they didn't do what we thought they were going to do.
We're going to make it happen.
Thanks, Rick. I recommend we take no action, and we'll leave this on the agenda for next time. Matthew, you guys don't have to stay. If you want me to email you the waiver, you can do that. I know you need to get back to school probably. But if you want to wait, you can. We can go down to KO's office after we complete here and sign it, but that'll probably be 12:30 or so. So it's totally up to you. I can email it if you'd like. Okay, you're welcome.
I can't believe you want to leave.
Yeah, my phone.
All right, item number 16, deliberate and consider possible actions regarding annex. Commissioner Hallwell?
I think there's been some slight revisions and maybe some suggestions to the JP's office.
I'll talk to that one a little bit if you don't mind.
Yeah, I mean,
This is just my opinion, and I'm the one that put this sketch in here with the open area. The reasoning for that is, of course, all of you have been out to Jody's courtroom as well, and all of his administrative people, including his bailiff, are all in an open area. And the thing I personally like about that, and Jody does too, is that there's ease of communication being in an open format where one person may be working on the same issue and they can discuss it immediately or overhear a conversation that they may have input on. My personal opinion is, and we did the same thing out at Weber, we found that when we bunch people together in an open forum, and now that COVID's gone, that we had a much better communication process. And of course, that's just one ideal. There's plenty others that could be applicable. And of course, as you can tell, that sketch that I've added to the packet is hand done. But it opens up that area there for seating of all of his administrative people as well as his bailiff or constable.
the one minor change to that, and I think that Judge Johnson supports this, where the entry is from the offices into the courtroom, he wants to move that to the other corner, and then we would make the door into his office directly into the open area, if that makes sense.
It does.
You have that copy of that drawing with you?
What it would be, Jason, is just take this door.
Right,
here.
I'm familiar.
I do not, I'm not looking at that drawing. I mean, that's not a, I don't know if there's a drawing out there, but I think that's just a suggestion.
Y'all can send it over to draftsman Judge Starnes, and he can pencil that in.
You understand what he's saying?
Well, I think.
Instead of that little hallway there,
Yeah.
his office would come all the way down,
Yeah.
his office would open in here, and then there'd be a door right there.
Take that door that's on the south wall
Right.
and move it to the opposite corner,
Put it here.
be to the left of the bench,
Yep, I see what you're saying.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, if that's what he wants to do.
He just wanted that door so his folks didn't have to walk so far to shuffle papers
Okay,
and eliminate that hallway, and that will actually increase the size of that office.
gotcha. I'll sketch that up. If you guys don't mind, then I'd hate to bring the engineers in for those kind of little modifications until we finish and get everything the way we want it. Any other thoughts?
If you, for security, wouldn't we want to maybe look at a door back here too, to where they can get out if they had to?
That's a load-bearing wall. I don't really know whether that's feasible or not, but it looks like they're cutting a hole in that wall.
I think the issue there is that's a 3.0 door they're wanting for single private access.
Right.
And that was in addition, they were trying to do that when their suggestion was build a constable's office in front of the mechanical room.
Right.
So that would allow them access. When you go back to this format where you have a window and a door, where they won't need that. But where you see the double wide or larger than a 3.0, I think that is for access egress versus a single door in an emergency is what I think, Adam.
That's a good point, though. You would certainly want to.
Well,
Done that,
fire or something where they can
Yeah, it gives them two ways out of there for each group.
Yeah, that's something we should do too.
And from a security standpoint, if you're really concerned about security, you want fewer entries,
No.
to take care of.
It's a good point.
And so,
Any other input?
On the storage in the commissioners area, I think if we needed to add on to that front storage room, we could.
Are we on to the commissioner's side now? I thought we were just going to discuss the JPs
we
first.
can discuss any of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, seriously, gentlemen, maybe y'all don't want a secretary, I don't know. I called Rick Sacy and said, okay, now if I have to move, if I get forced into this, I'm going to go kicking and screaming. I don't want to go. I refuse to go. But where is a secretary supposed to put a printer? The storage for just the printer? The way this is chopped up, and where can you put a file cabinet? And he said, there's really not a place to put one. And I said, we still do, some of us, I don't know, I don't think you do, Commissioner Hollowell, do you make your signs or do you buy them? No, it's a question. Where will we put it?
Well, actually, a thought would be, and I don't know that any of this is etched in stone, you could increase the size of that storage area, and the waiting room, somebody walks in the office, the receptionist offers them something to drink and escorts them to the conference room. We don't typically have a lot of people waiting to see the commissioner.
No one ever comes to see us. I agree, very, very seldom.
And a copy machine can, I don't know why they've got a little table and chairs sitting against that south wall directly in front of the break area. Copy machine could absolutely go there, but we can increase, actually you could enclose that storage room if you wanted to and put the signed stuff and everything in there. You could take that all the way to you could take it north to the perimeter wall. If somebody needs seating, we can place seats out in front of the mechanical room for that matter. And you also have the storage inside the conference room, that storage also.
I think there can be a lot of adjustments made to all of that.
Do what?
I think there can be a lot of adjustments made to all of that to make it work. I'm not sold on it needing to be a break room in there, but a nice place to put a refrigerator.
I don't know what we need a break room for. If you've got a break room outside, that break room is almost as large as the vault that we have. That meeting room is not going to be our meeting room. That's going to be a jury room. It will have first dibs on that thing. If you've got some open area there, and maybe
We're talking two jury trials a year, possibly.
right now,
Well, in the last 6 years, they've held 3 in the last 6 years.
Okay.
And then, if you quadruple that, that's 17, 18 days a year that they would use it for a jury room.
okay. How many? Okay. How often does Jody use his?
For juries?
He uses it quite often.
No,
He uses the room.
absolutely, which is in place here. Jody hasn't, let me ask the question because I don't know the answer.
No.
Shelley,
What?
do you have any idea how many jury trials Precinct 1 has held? There are just very few jury trials held in JP Court.
I understand that, especially since COVID.
Well, even prior, like I said, we went, 6 years? And
We only had 3 the last time I checked,
Well-
between the two of them.
Jody indicated he used that room quite often.
well, for bench trials, absolutely, you're absolutely right. He used them for bench trials.
Well, it's a jury room. It's not your private meeting room where we're going to be able to store things in.
Well, we can look at storage there. We can also, I'm like you guys, we could take that commissioner's break area and do exactly like we have our current vault. You should stick a fridge in there. We don't need microwave stuff of that nature. If you guys don't want it, they can go to the break room.
So tell me what you think we need in our office.
Oh,
Not in our personal offices. What do y'all think we need downstairs?
I'm going to defer to you. You have the concern, Tommy. I don't.
Well, if we get rid of the break room and the waiting rooms, both of the waiting rooms, that opens up, what, 230, 50, nearly 270 square foot of space to put storage and copiers and whatnot.
Hang on, Judge, you lost me.
Okay, if you do
You
away
said
with...
two waiting areas?
Yeah, there's a waiting area in the south end of the hallway. It says waiting, 61 square foot.
Ooh, I don't.
Go to the next drawing.
I'm sorry.
It's got the feet on it.
Yeah, the next
going.
one.
So, all right, let me rephrase the question. What do the three of you think we need to take with us when we go? Now, this isn't a trick question, and it's not a gotcha question. It's a real bona fide question. Right now, we have a map table, and we have the maps on. The way this is configured here, you won't bring that over there because there won't be any place to put it. We do still cut our own vinyl for the, at least I think we do. I do, don't you, Art? Snubs, do you? Gary, do you not make the vinyl signs anymore, or do you get them somewhere?
I make them occasionally.
Okay. You mean none of yours get tore down?
Thank you. Sure.
So if those things are
Oh, I see what you're
important for the office of the commissioners, we got to find a place for them.
Well, right now, they just sit along the wall in there too. so
But
they
there's
sit
no
along
place
the
to
wall.
put them on the wall here, that's the problem.
They sit where you can't even walk between the table and in between our conference table and the wall right now. It sits up against the wall right there, right now. And we have
But you
wall
don't-
space here with no chairs backing into it.
If you, well, where do you have the open space that you're going to do that here? That hallway is 60 inches, and it's cut up with doors, so you can't put anything there. I mean, this,
We could put all of it if we extend that storage area out into that waiting room to the left. That's 100 and what,
16.
116 square foot. And actually, you could put it behind the door, and visually, it would be out of the way, out of sight. And I mean, now that I see what waiting room you're talking about, that's what I was wondering, why the table and two chairs, yeah.
there's two waiting rooms.
Yeah, don't need two waiting rooms. And
Or you could
actually-
get rid of the waiting room and the storage room up front and make that one open area, and then I know y'all think you have all this square feet, but you don't have a wall to put anything against because there's too many door openings in the way, and there's not enough room because it narrows down to that narrow hallway with a door going into your juror room and the two commissioners' offices. That's a problem.
Well, you could actually, if you wanted to, eliminate that commissioner's break area and turn that whole 150 square foot into a work area, storage area, and put it behind the door. There's nothing that says that stuff has to be against a wall in a wide open area to everybody's view.
Well, the other thing we could do, we could make that jury deliberation room smaller. He set it up for 12 jurors, and in JP court, it would be 6.
Now, Stacy did say that, he could chop that where that black line is across there, chop that end off,
Yeah, I'd recommend.
because you've got a 6-man jury and a 10-man deliberation room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to sketch it up a little better, but I think there's plenty of room there. We just need to reorganize it.
Maybe Mr. Stacy ought to come
Yeah.
up here and see. That's kind of the way it's supposed to work.
Do you guys want to do a workshop?
I think we can get it closer without wasting his time right now.
Yeah, before we pay him, we ought to, because
Well, didn't we, Shelley, do we have them on retainer, so to speak?
Who?
Komatsu.
We have a contract with them.
We have a contract with them.
yeah, but every hour they spend in this prepping stage is going to come off the other end when we really need their counsel when we start construction and stuff of
Well,
that nature.
I understand, but
I mean,
Commissioner, I don't trust your designing skills because it got me this.
well,
And
this was actually my
no,
design
it wasn't.
skills, but
It's somebody's designing skills.
This was Stacy's. He was told what was needed, and then he used his best judgment to do a layout.
Well,
And
Judge-
some of this he added in there that wasn't even in the request, the commissioner's break room, for instance. Yes, sir.
in all honesty, this is not a recent drawing. You know, this
No.
is a modification of a drawing that happened years ago, so
Yeah, I like the ideal of
we ought to do a little workshop and, you know, but, I mean, just what we've talked about today, if moving some walls, reducing the size, I mean, at some point, if we could make a decision next couple of weeks, we're still getting closer to getting elections there, and I don't know that we'll ever make it by now, but I think this is probably doable, but
Yeah, I do too. I mean, my way of thinking is that we do away with the break room and this second waiting room. In fact, we could run a wall from that second waiting room there and make all of that storage, and then you have more than you have currently.
that's what I'm saying, turn all that into to one enclosed room. And obviously, the receptacles back there for a fridge or whatever, but we don't need the seating back there, stuff of that nature. Not anybody going to use that for the most part.
And then turn that jury room into a six-man jury room and move that wall back to the same where the dotted line is.
And that gives some wall space to put tables or anything we needed to.
Y'all were concerned about having a second outlet for the JP in case of fire. You don't have a second outlet in this one either.
Well, you can go through the jury room and through their office and back.
Well, but the outlet was through the firewalls, guys, not through that's to get you out of the complexes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
The middle wall is impenetrable. That's a load bearing.
yeah, absolutely, serious load bearing, and probably solid brick, isn't it?
Yeah. I
It was
believe
a
it is.
firewall.
Yep.
Now, we put a break room up there. The employees would like to have a break room. That's a 4-person break room. I don't know.
Well, actually, if you recall, not only will that serve as a break room, there's tables placed and can continue to be placed against the west wall. You can probably put 3 there that each seats 4.
Yeah, out with that window there.
Yeah, looking out this window to the west of the staircases, there's already tables there, so,
That's more of a hallway. You can't impede access to those stairs. I don't know.
yeah, we've had that for, I don't know, we didn't do it, but somebody created that spot. It's been there, I guess, now for 4 or 5 years, but as long as it's not hardwalled and glued to the ground, I don't know that that's Judge, you don't see that because it's not on there.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was going,
They're right here. The employees come up here sometimes and sit,
gotcha.
which would be an overflow for this, you know, where they
Yeah.
can come in and eat their lunch up or whatever and sit
Right.
out here. And then that gives you sunlight right there.
Yep, gotcha.
I think we're awfully close with just the suggestions being made.
What are we going to do? What are we going to do about Darrell? That's 560 feet total.
I think what we talked about last time, Darrell's in here, is that we may have to store his stuff somewhere else and this only be his administrative area. Is that not what we discussed previously?
Well,
I think eventually he ends up in the Crest building.
Yeah.
Just not right this second until we're ready to move those chess pieces. You know, it's going to be an extra move, and I apologize for that, but, you know, I think it's just a temporary deal. I said, I think it would mean an extra move for you at one point, but it's just a stepping stone so we can get moving and get the voting deal taken care of and get JP out of a bind.
Yeah.
Do I remember incorrectly? I thought you all decided you were only going to finish out the south part of that second floor last meeting. Did that change?
Yeah, no, that's the whole purpose, is to try to get Pam your area as well by November. But what we just discussed is he said he thought ultimately you would end up in the Crest building, and I suspect that he's right. And what I had understood from our last meeting is that you would move upstairs here with your administrative function and whatever was necessities that you would be working on a daily basis. The rest of your storage needs would be somewhere else. It may be in the old commissioners area, because I guess this building you're in quite a bit and work quite a bit in here anyway, so that would be actually more convenient than across the street.
If I can have some storage area that's away from my primary office, that won't be a problem.
Yeah. So I think that was the plan we discussed last time.
So you're going to move us out and move Daryl and ours? God, this is a joke. It truly is.
Well, we're
This
not
is
going to
sad.
move Daryl in there, we're going to move Daryl's equipment in there.
You know, and there might be a better option someday where the commissioners are not in there and the commissioners are.
Let's build, let's keep building. Let's keep, got to move on something. Move on something that's right. You guys make these speeches about moving the county forward, and you're moving it sideways. There's no vision.
There's been 2 votes where you haven't gotten your way, and both times you pitched a fit.
I'm not pitching a fit. This is a fit. You've never seen a fit.
It is.
I'm smiling.
Well, you sitting here being condescending, calling it a joke, saying nobody's wanting to do anything. We're trying to move forward.
No.
Do something.
No,
Instead of
you're moving sideways. You're going to make multiple moves. And you can tell the public you're
I'm saying it right here on camera.
Okay.
We got a lot of moves to make. We got to get started on it.
And I've seen it on camera too.
I
We're still
think
making those hard decisions. But anyway,
we need to make some adjustments to this drawing, but I think that what we need to accomplish is here. I recommend that we set up and we're going to have to do it quickly, guys. We may have to set up a workshop and a special court next week in order to get this thing done and on its way. But that's my recommendation, is that we set up a workshop, and then after the workshop, we can decide whether we have a special court next week, try to get this moving, so there's a possibility of having Pam in elections over in the bottom part of that building.
You want it, let's see, today's Monday. You want it end of this week or early part of next week? What works? We're all sitting here now, be time to glance at some calendars.
I think we do it the middle of this week, Wednesday, Thursday, or something like that. It's going
I'm
to
good, whatever we need to do.
be, yeah, I think,
are you going to have Stacy come?
I don't know.
When will we get him involved again?
Well, I think that we need to come to a conclusion of what we can do from a sketching standpoint, then send it to him and say, hey, is this practical? Is it structurally correct?
Let him give us a conceptual drawing just like this.
Yeah.
Or not just like this, obviously, but like this one.
I don't personally see the need of bringing him in until we've sketched this up a little bit and got it like we think. And then we can send it to him and he can say yay or nay.
And Commissioner Snuggs, you think I'm throwing a fit? I am passionate about my work, and I don't like betraying the trust of the taxpayers and wasting their money.
I'm with you on that.
Don't.
Well, but that
interrupt me.
suggests that we are, and I take a little issue
Well,
with that.
no.
You're entitled to your opinion, observation, just like everybody else. I think all
Exactly.
of us are trying to do the right thing.
Exactly.
So I'm
I
not
can't
gonna-
even rent a machine, and you don't want to carry it over into the rest of my next term, and you're wanting to do this, and you're already talking about moving somebody out in a couple of years or next year into the Chris building. I call that a betrayal of the taxpayers' money, is what I call that. Let's move everybody once and be done with it.
Everybody's heard it, so it is what it is.
Okay, my way of thinking, we should try to do it Wednesday or Thursday if we can.
Of this week,
Yes, sir.
You got every 72 hours, or whatever that
you don't have enough time.
equates to. Thursday, we can absolutely meet by
Yeah,
Thursday.
you're
get
right.
it
We
posted.
couldn't do it Wednesday. We could do it Thursday or Friday, worst case scenario. I'll
I've got
put
a Zoom
something
meeting sometime. I don't know if it's Wednesday or Thursday.
Certainly in between now and the workshop, if you want to sketch up your own, please do so, and then we'll get them all together and try to come to a consensus. All right, I make a motion that not a motion, I recommend that we take no action on this one. We leave it on the agenda for further action.
Leave it on the agenda, and actually our action is a workshop.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, item 17, deliberate and consider possible actions regarding county radio communication systems. Ray, do you or Gary have anything you can brief us on?
When are they coming to look at the new site?
I'm sorry?
When are they coming to look at the new site? I wasn't able to get on the last phone call meeting because I had something else.
You want to brief the court on the new site? Yeah, I mean, you went out and hustled that up for us.
Well,
so-
we've got a new site out close to the school on Ortowski land. They've been gracious enough to work with us. They're very easy to work with, very good people. But Motorola has to come out there and look at that first. I dropped a pin on the map now. I don't know if it's exact.
So what do we need to do to reach out to the appropriate people?
Well, they said they'd let us know. I didn't know if they said anything to Gary or not.
Can you follow up with them, Gary, since you're the chair of this activity?
Have they said anything to
Yes.
you about it at all?
They will do a microwave assessment is what they will do. And I called them this morning to see if they had actually accomplished that yet. Dig test has looked at it. We don't think we have any significant issues as far as service lines, stuff of that nature.
The spot?
Yeah.
Well, see, I told Wesley when I sent him the map, we need to go back out there and look at it. I don't know if that dot is on the exact spot. We talked about an area, and I put my best guess.
You're within 100 foot, right, or something?
I hope so.
So we have a potential site at Sybil's Bend. The sheriff reached out to his counterpart in Denton, and I don't think I'm putting the words in his mouth, but we don't anticipate any problem. So should be able to get a dedicated line to Denton and join their core. The issue probably or concern that the court needs to talk about is the generator. They found out that they can't put two 200-amp services in the EMS station. So now then we've got about 3 options. We can always take the one that's at this EMS station and take it to Valley View, which has been a consideration that's been discussed. We can, the current generator will not accommodate both the EMS station and the tower if we can't separate and establish the 2 breaker boxes. Does that make sense? So we either purchase a smaller standalone generator to operate the tower and leave the EMS like it is. You purchase a larger one, which is probably a 60 kW, which is a bunch of money, that would accommodate both the EMS and the tower. You could take the EMS station off of backup power altogether and use the one that's there and reduce costs by probably $30,000, $40,000. So there's a couple of 3 options there. Adam, can you tell me how often did you guys ever use a generator? Do you know? Don't mean to put you on the spot. I know you just write it
Depends
down.
on what happens. I mean, like the deal we had that was a week long, when you got to keep that service going, you can't just run out of the truck.
No, well,
And it, you know, you don't never know because it turns on, you don't even know it went on off, you know?
I just thought maybe Hal's there, you would have some idea because it looks like we put 30 kW generators on every one of those 2-bedroom apartments, basically. And I'm in the same position I've always been. I don't know necessarily why we need those generators for once in every 10-year events. But again, I'm very,
You need them once for the 10-year events because when a 10-year event happens, it might be your wife, your kid, or yourself that's laying over there that needs an ambulance, and the ambulance now is somewhere else. It's not at that station. That's why. I had a generator at the dairy for 40 years. We hooked it up 24 times. Twice, all of those times, the power came back on before we could use it. But we were out of juice for about 5 days one time. And if I wouldn't have had it, the cost of having it there, that's the thing, Gary. It's not about the use. It's kind of like those computers that blow up. You know, you run them till they quit. You wished you would have got rid of it the day before it quit. It's a different version of the same thing.
Who would be the right person that we could solicit to take a look at both scenarios, what the cost would be and the benefit associated with buying a smaller one to take care of the EMS station, or vice versa, I'm sorry, to take care of the tower and leaving the EMS station on the existing one, or buying a bigger one that would carry both? Who could work that
I
out?
don't get pricing, that's all I know to do. I don't mind doing that.
What do we intend to do? You get TNT or somebody to come out and evaluate it for you.
Okay,
It'll be like us drawing our own plans.
Well, the main thing, all we got to know is what it costs for 60K. Well, first off, before we send somebody off on a mission to do something, this court needs to decide, do we want to take the one we have and move it to Valley View and then backfill with a single unit? Because if we're going to go buy one for Valley View anyway, and it sounds like we're probably headed that way, even though, again, I seen that ambulance is mobile. There's no guarantee when the lights go off it's even going to be at that station. But, and to me, it's just a two-bedroom apartment, just like our house would be, and all of us deal with issues when the electricity goes off. But again, this court needs to decide, I would guess, is if we want to take the one we have, go to Valley View with it, and backfill with a much more expensive one to accommodate both, or do we want to buy a single one for Valley View and buy another single one for the towers?
Then you have more upkeep.
Yeah, so
You got another unit. I would say that we put a bigger unit at 2, Station 2, to accommodate both the tower and the station, and move that other one down to the 5, so we don't have that
So
problem.
that's the number I'm looking for. What's it cost to install? I'm sorry, go ahead, Rick.
The generator, you want me to go there? Generator, that's a, rice average, it's a natural gas generator. There is no natural gas in that station.
Can you change orifices on it like you can a stove?
You can.
Contacted TNT, they're supposed to go look at that generator to see if they can convert it to propane.
You normally can.
yeah, I think you probably can.
They probably can, but I don't know that, I don't know what it would cost.
But before we go out and do a bunch of what-if pricing, if we can figure out what we want to go do, it's pretty simple. Go see what a 60 kW hooked to that EMS station costs, and then we'll go from there.
Now that we know that, now of course, if lightning strikes, that may be a different deal, but now that we understand what the rules of engagement are for a crisis with electricity, is there any chance that Valley View's on the same grid with the hospital? Did they lose power during the winter event? You know?
They did lose power.
Okay, that answers that
I
question.
think somebody else did it, I think they rented the generator
Okay,
for a few days.
How'd they plug that in?
I don't know about that night.
Yeah, we rented one from TNT Electric for $1,500 for like 4 or 5 days.
Did they wire around your breaker box?
No, the good part is, when the station was built, they put a disconnect up where you could plumb in with a generator and hook in.
Now they put a double throw in?
A double throw.
That's
Now-
good.
Now, it's not all automated and all that, but it got us out of a bind.
Okay. Because I was going to say that'd be a perfect example of what was the impact of that one without a generator, but obviously that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a price on the new generator for that, it's $22,000.
For which one?
On that
Rice, oh, Valley View.
So is that a 30 kW? And why, you know, did we put 30 kWs on all of them just because we had 30 kW on this one, which was also serving the tower at one time? Because they won't pull that many amps.
I told TNT to look at that, put price again, size generator that it needs to operate.
And are they saying that's going to be a 30 kW? That's what they're doing?
That's what he priced it.
That station's all electric. There's no gas.
They're all electric, aren't they?
No. 4's propane, 3's propane.
Who's natural gas?
Two's natural gas.
So they've got gas cook stoves?
Gas
Well, they
heat.
got gas heat, gas furnaces?
Gas, heat, gas, water. They got them Renais in them.
Okay, so if you've already priced, then it's $22,000 for a 30 kW.
You get a price for a 60 and make sure that a 60 would carry rise and the tower.
I just don't see that tower taking.
I've never got anybody tell me what power
Well,
to give the tower.
They need 100 amps.
He said they need 100 amps.
And, it'd be nice to have, 20 or 30 amp cushion, but they need 100 amps. And in theory, if you have everything in the world running at the EMS station, you need 297, I believe. And I think the 30 kW do 150 amps, I think. So in reality, if everything went south, if everything was come on at once, and obviously it can't because heat and air conditioning are going to come on at the same time, 30 kW might not work. So, but
150 amp breaker in the generator.
I'm sorry.
150 amp breaker
Right.
in that generator.
Okay. So, well, and this is not part of the Motorola program, okay? In other words, there is no dollars for a generator at Rice, okay? So whatever we spend is what we spend. So the task, I think, would be to get a bid for a 60 kW installed. In other words, they're going to go ahead and connect EMS, and then when Motorola's folks come in, they'll connect the stuff that they do. So if that's what the court wants to do, and then we take the 30 amp, move it to that. And I guess you want to bid that too, guys, while they're at it?
Who to bid it?
TNT or whoever's going to, or do you want a bid, I guess, from more than one person on a 60 kW installed here and the 30 kW moved about a unit installed? Is that the scenario?
I believe
I'm
that's
fine
what we
with
said
that.
on at the end.
Do we have more than one person that could bid on
The one that's there is Clipper, so I can get whoever does Clipper, give me the price also.
There's two different ones. Once I looked at it, Woodbine versus here is two different companies, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Two different brands of generators.
what we got out of the jail, there should be 3 or 4 different. Generac could probably bid on it. If we got a Generac dealer.
TNT with generator team.
Okay.
The reason for going to TNT is they had those cell phone tower generators that were considerably cheaper than anybody else.
I think they're all gone, Commissioner.
Oh, they might all be gone now, but that's why we went to TNT.
But that's the price we need. And that's something outside the Motorola thing. You can confirm with them if you need 279 and they need 100, you need something that will accommodate 379 total. Okay, like I said, that 30 is just doing got a 150 amp breaker on it, so in theory it's not doing more than 150. So you do that twice to get 300, and that's actually not enough if you need 379 amps. So I would look at minimum 60 unless somebody educates you to the contrary.
You okay with doing that, Rick? All right. See if you can get us a quote. See if you can do some more research too to make sure that the 60K is big enough.
We need to make sure that this one that we have can be converted.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, if we can, that's a whole different
I
thing.
mentioned this, he told me that during the big freeze that we had, people had propane generators, they would stop running. Because when they get to 60 degrees below zero, if you have a propane tank out there, it's not going to get a whole lot of gas off, which is cold.
It's too cold.
Diesel's the same way.
Yeah, diesel's the same.
You get that low,
Yeah. It gels
Turns into
up,
jelly.
everything freezes.
Yeah, it's not fun, but hopefully we never have that again.
Yeah.
I mean, worst case, if that one can't convert, then probably then we go look at something smaller that will accommodate 100 amps as a standalone for the
Tower.
Rice Avenue shed. And I briefed you guys 2 weeks ago on the difference in the price of the shed and the cabinet, right? Told you that we really don't want to go for the cabinet because the cabinet is $35,000
Yes, yes.
versus the $4,000 to bring the shed into code.
Yeah.
How much do those towers use now, amps? What they're using now, they use 100?
I don't know, Adam. What I'm saying is, what they're designing, what we're putting up will require 100. I can't speak to what they
I'm
have.
talking about the old one.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I can't speak to that one. But, it's got an air conditioner and stuff in it, or heat and
Well,
air.
you've got an air conditioner in there now.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all they ever put in them, isn't it?
Similar to that.
Well, if you would, Rick, do some research and see if you can come up with a couple of different scenarios and what's feasible. All right, we'll leave number 17 with no action and have it on next agenda. Deliberate and consider possible actions regarding various grant funds, item 18. Shelley, you have any input for us? Guess it won't be long before we have American Recovery on here, hopefully.
Maybe.
For at least 2 more years.
Yeah.
I got 2 roads for precinct 4 submitted. I've got one on my desk I need to get some corrections for. I got the needed additional documents for precinct 4 that came in 2 separate emails submitted. And so I don't know if documents from those roads, which included cleared checks from J.R. Thompson, Cooke County Crushed Stone, North Texas Crushed Stone, and the likes, bank statements, and also they wanted the rock bids from 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20 from start to finish. If those documents also helped complete precinct 3's submissions from 19. But I also received word that they have submitted for payment 2 roads for precinct 3. So precinct 3 should be getting about $80,000 soon. I did catch a couple of errors in the precinct 3 submissions. One, the road was submitted for $77,000, but when the document submitted by Cone resident came through, they submitted $75,000, and I said, hey, I don't understand why you're saying it was submitted for $75,000 when I submitted it for $77,000, and they said, oh, well, we missed a materials submission of $3,200, so we'll include that. We'll do a separate request for reimbursement. And then the second one was an error on my part, was 1 day's ticket on the road submission for $198, and they're going to add it in on the request for reimbursement with the $3,200. So that one's going to come in separate. Hopefully that money will come in this week, because normally when they notify us, we usually get the money pretty quick.
Thank you, Shelley. Is there anything that we can do to help or any actions we need to take?
No.
you got some more, I heard a pause there, you got some more to talk about, right?
Not, well, on the rest of them, or do you want me to finish?
Oh, yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'd love to.
That's all the ones on the flood.
Okay.
Nothing on the FEMA COVID. The CARES grant, they quit asking me for documentations, everything. I'm waiting on the money, I think. The public safety, I finally got the budget approved. I'm using COVID testing on the inmates to use up their remaining funds. I submitted the remainder of the inmates that were being housed, not moved to the state. That was $2,600 or something. So I got $3,000 to spend on COVID testing of inmates, so I need to submit that. That grant will be finished. Still haven't sent anything in on CTIFs. I submit, they opened the submission of expenses for elections. I submitted what I thought was the completion of the elections. They disallowed part-time employees for cleaning for the security, the HAVA security grant. I thought I could submit the expense for the tax office expense to scan in the voter registration cards that they contracted with Net Data for, and I contacted the Secretary of State, and they said because we had that budgeted, that is not an allowable expense. I need $1,440 to finish that grant out. So Pam and I'm working with Pam trying to come up with some expense. I'm going to get with Daryl also. They said if the audit you had on your security, if we had to spend anything to any kind of internet security, any kind of computer, any kind of technology that we had to put into place to cover your expense for your elections. But also, I will check on your training for your elections to see about that. So, I'm sorry? No. That was on the CARES. That one's closed. This one's on security, communications. So, and then that one will be finished. So hopefully we can take 2 of these off soon.
The CTIF, what year does that have to be completed?
We have 5 years.
From last year, right?
Last year, so you got 4 years left.
And I have yours, and I have precinct 3's.
When you say you have it, theirs is not complete, right? Not complete?
Yeah,
I'm not sure if I'm 100% through. That's the question. I need to go back and see, but I've got a good portion of it done.
And you've submitted anything for returns yet?
no.
No, that's what she said. She hasn't submitted anything.
But you're not going to wait until we get them all done?
No, just when I got,
So I know I've got one of the 2 roads done.
precincts 3 will be the easiest, because that was an interlocal agreement with Denton. I've got the folders for the roads for precinct 4 that I'd have to go through like I do with the FEMA roads.
I'm not sure if I've done quite enough to qualify for all of it.
I'll just have to check them.
Yeah.
That's what I have on the grants.
Thank you. Anything else on grants? Next item agenda number 19, executive session and compliance.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can we go ahead and knock this supplement out? Should we?
It's on here.
Somebody here waiting on it.
Okay, sure, yeah, we can. I don't see a problem with that. Can we jump down to that? Can we go out of order?
What do you want to do?
Supplement.
The supplement. Yeah. We'll jump down to item number 23, the supplement agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry, my agenda must have been Dale's. I didn't have that on there, so.
Okay.
Sorry.
Do we have someone waiting for
I
us?
don't think so.
I thought there was somebody here earlier waiting.
Oh, okay.
Not
Then
anybody
let's go ahead and do the executive session if that's okay.
That's fine. I'm sorry about that.
No worry. Number 19, we'll go into executive session in compliance with Texas Open Meeting Act, Chapter 551, the Government Code, and we'll take a 5-minute break. All right, it is 12:32. We are now back in normal session. Item number 20 on our agenda, deliberate and consider possible action regarding Cooke County Court of Law provisions, Section 25.0512. What that is that was a special legislation done many years ago that spelled out that the county court of law judge would make the same salary as the district judge regardless of seniority. What we would like to do is to have Drew Springer, while in session, rescind or modify that legislation to use the Office of Court Administration's recommendations under Local Government Section 65.9.012. That is what the rest of the state uses. We're the only one that has a special legislation for salaries for courts. So with that being said, anybody have any questions? All right, I make the motion that we allow Senator Springer to modify that legislation to allow us to pay based on the Office of Court Administration's regulations.
Second.
I have a second from Commissioner Hollowell. Any further discussion? All of those that are in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it, 5-0. Item number 21 on the agenda, deliberate and consider possible actions regarding the interlocal agreement with Callisburg Independent School District and Cooke County Sheriff. That is an agreement that we have several different modifications that need to be reviewed with the sheriff. I make the motion that we defer the authority to the county judge to work with the sheriff and the county attorney to come up with a contract that everyone is in agreement with.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Snuggs. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Item number 22, deliberate and consider possible actions regarding COVID-19 policy and procedures for Courthouse, Annex, and Justice Center. What we are recommending is to eliminate the protocol for mask and temperature in all three of those centers except when they are having court. During court, it will be required to wear the mask and to receive temperature before entering the court. And basically what we're doing is we're going back to what the OCA originally, the Office of Court Administration recommended, that each judge have the authority to determine what is applicable for their courtroom. So that is what we're reverting back to. Any questions? Anybody have any concerns or input? I'll make the motion that we accept and go back to the original condition of the OCA of allowing each judge in their courtroom to make the determination of what precautions will be taken. The rest of the courthouse and the annex and the Justice Center will no longer require entry monitoring.
Second.
Have a second by Commissioner Snuggs. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0.
Shelley's, what?
Where does that become effective?
Good point. We will make that effective
Immediately?
How about now?
immediately. Everyone in favor of that? Okay.
I'll second that as well.
Okay.
We'll do that.
All in favor of making it immediate, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? I think we have that. Thank you, Shelley. Supplemental agenda. It is 12:36. We'll open public hearings on replat of lots 1719 and 1721 of Lake Kiowa Incorporated subdivision. Anyone here to speak on that? I don't think anyone signed up. I looked at the deal. It is 12:37. We'll close public hearing. Item number 26, deliberate and consider request of Larry and Janine Grace for replat of lots 1719 and 1721 of Lake Kiowa Incorporated subdivision.
Signed off on it, so.
Yeah, that's why I was making sure.
It looked like they did.
Yeah.
Set that button so small to be a ring.
Yeah. No,
There we go.
POA signed off on it, so I'll make a motion we approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the replat of lots 1719 and 1721 of Lake Kiowa, seconded by Commissioner Leon Clement. Any further discussion? All in favor of approving item 26? Please signify by aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, 5-0. Item number 23, any future agenda items we need to discuss? All right. Item number 24, adjourn. I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Second that.
I have a second from Commissioner Art. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.